Here, in the sun-drenched kingdom of Solara and the moon-kissed realm of Lunara, a war has raged for 20 long years. It wasn't over land, or gold, or power. It was over a rumor, a deliciously scandalous, petty, dark, and twisted rumor. The story goes that 2 decades ago, King Alistair of Solara, in a fit of pique, declared that Queen Seraphina of Lunara's prized royal peacocks, the ones with feathers said to shimmer with actual moonlight, were nothing but oversized, glorified chickens painted with cheap glitter. An insult so profound, so utterly petty, that it plunged 2 kingdoms into endless conflict. For 20 years, battles were fought with comical cruelty. Solaron soldiers would launch chickens catapulted over Lunara's walls, each one squawking indignantly. In retaliation, Lunaran archers would fire arrows tipped with glitter bombs, turning Solaron camps into sparkling, tacky messes. The generals on both sides had forgotten the original reason for the war. They just enjoyed the sheer theatricality of it all. General Valerius of Solara was famous for his Operation Chicken Run, while Lunara's General Cassian pioneered the strategic Sparkle Offensive. It was absurd, it was costly, and it was terribly, terribly entertaining for everyone except the poor souls actually fighting. But while the men played their ridiculous war games, too, women were growing tired of the feathered and glittering chaos. Queen Isadora of Solara, daughter of the late King Alistair, and Queen Lyra of Lunara, daughter of the still-reigning Queen Seraphina, were, to put it mildly, over it. They were also unknown to their kingdoms and even to most of their own families. Sisters born to the same mother who had been married to 2 different kings in a diplomatic pact gone wrong. They were separated at birth, each raised to rule a rival nation. They had only discovered their connection through secret letters exchanged via a trusted and very discreet carrier pigeon. One day, Queen Isadora sent a message. "Lyra, I am tired of my castle smelling like a barnyard. We must end this." Lyra replied, "Sister, I am tired of finding glitter in my royal soup." "I agree, let's meet." They arranged a secret rendezvous in the Whispering Woods, a neutral territory on their border. Away from the prying eyes of their courts, they finally met face Isadora with her fiery red hair and sun-kissed skin, and Lyra with her silver hair and ethereal grace. Looked at each other and saw not an enemy, but family. "So," Isadora began, kicking a loose stone. "Dead. My father really call your mother's peacocks glittered chickens." Lyra sighed, a faint smile on her lips. "That's the tale. Mother has never been the same. She insists on having every peacock personally inspected for any sign of common poultry heritage each morning." Isadora snorted. "My thought. My father was a drama king, but that seems a bit much even for him. He once declared war on a neighboring duchy because their court jester told a bad joke. They decided to dig deeper. This whole war felt ... wrong. It was too petty, even for their famously theatrical families. Their investigation led them to the royal archives of both kingdoms. They spent weeks poring over dusty scrolls, old letters, and forgotten court records. The official histories were full of heroic tales of glitter-dusted soldiers and poultry-based psychological warfare. But the truth was buried much deeper. They finally found it in a locked chest, hidden in the personal correspondence of their shared grandmother, a woman known for her wicked sense of humor and her love for chaos. In a faded, spidery script, a letter from their grandmother to a friend detailed the entire incident. It turned out there was no insult. King Alistair and Queen Seraphina had been secret lovers in their youth. The glitter chicken comment was an inside joke between them, a term of endearment from a silly, private moment they once shared. The letter described how Alistair had playfully teased Seraphina about her new, rather gaudy peacock pen, calling them her little glitter chickens. She had laughed, and that was that. So how did an inside joke become a cause for war? The plot twist was even more embarrassing. The rumor was started by a courtier, a man named Lord Malachi, who had overheard the private joke out of context. Malachi was deeply in love with Queen Seraphina and was furiously jealous of her affection for Alistair. In a fit of petty rage, he twisted their sweet, private moment into a public, national insult. He spread the rumor like wildfire, fanning the flames of pride and ego until both kingdoms felt they had no choice but to defend their honor. Malachi, the architect of a 20-year war, had done it all out of unrequited love and a bruised ego. The heartbreak wasn't a grand, epic tragedy, was the pathetic, bitter heartbreak of a man who couldn't get the girl. Now armed with the mortifying truth, the two sister queens had to reveal it. They called for a grand summit, inviting the nobles and generals from both Solara and Lunara to the neutral Whispering Woods. The air was thick with tension. General Valerius stood with his chest puffed out, no doubt planning his next poultry-based assault. General Cassian was adjusting his perfectly sparkling epaulets. Then, Queen Isidora and Queen Lyra stood together. Isidora began. Lords and ladies, generals of Solara and Lunara. For 20 years, we have fought a war over an insult. A war over chickens and glitter. The crowd murmured, nodding solemnly. Lyra continued, her voice clear and strong. We have discovered the truth behind this conflict. And the truth is, well, it's embarrassing. She then read from their grandmother's letter, her voice ringing through the silent woods. She explained the inside joke, the secret love affair, and the silly, affectionate term, glitter chickens. A wave of confused silence washed over the crowd. Then, a few nervous titters. Then, full-blown laughter. Generals who had been mortal enemies just moments before were now looking at each other, a mixture of shock and amusement on their faces. Valerius's face turned the color of a ripe tomato. General Cassian seemed to be trying to physically shrink into his glittery uniform. But the queens weren't done. The final, most humiliating piece of the puzzle was Lord Malachi himself, an ancient, withered man. Now, he was trotted out before the assembly. When confronted with the letter, he couldn't deny it. With a pathetic whimper, he confessed everything: his jealousy, his petty rage, his twisted lie that cost thousands of lives and 2 decades of peace. The great, epic war was revealed to be the result of one man's pathetic, romantic failure. The epic heartbreak wasn't of kings and queens, but of a bitter old man. The dark, twisted actions weren't grand strategies, but petty gossip. The whole sordid, hilarious, and tragic affair was laid bare for all to see. In the end, the war didn't end with a heroic charge or a solemn treaty. It ended with a collective, kingdom-wide cringe. Queen Isidora and Queen Lyra, the sisters who chose truth over tradition, clasped hands. They had not only ended a war, but had also exposed the ridiculous foundation upon which it was built. And from that day forward, in both Solara and Lunara, the term glitter chicken was never an insult. It was a reminder of the most absurdly petty war in history. And the two queens who were smart enough to end it with the simple, embarrassing truth. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tailies from the annals of history, both real and imagined. See you next time!